kitchen's hot!
What, Essie?
I say the kitchen's awful hot. That new candy I'm making just won't ever get cool.
Do you have to make candy today, Essie? It's such a hot day.
Well, I got all those new orders. Ed went out and got a bunch of new orders.
My, if this keeps up, I suppose you'll be opening up a store.
That's what Ed was saying last night. But I said no. I want to be a dancer.
The problem with dancing is it takes so long. You've been studying such a long time.
Only 8 years? After all, Mother, you've been writing plays for 8 years. We started around the same time, didn't we?
Yes, but you mustn't count the first 2 years because I was learning how to type.
I think those candies are hardening up now, Miss Essie.
Oh, thanks, Reba. I'll bring some in, Mother. I want you to try it.
Did you finish the second act, Mrs. Sycamore?
What, Reba?
I said, did you finish the second act yet?
Oh, no. I've just got Cynthia entering the monastery.
She was at the Kit Kat Club, wasn't she?
Yes, but she gets tired of the Kit Kat Club, and there's this monastery, so she goes there.
Do they let her in?
I made it Visitor's Day, so they'll let anyone in.
Oh.
So she arrives on Visitor's Day and just stays.
You mean she stays all night?
Oh, yes. She stays 6 years.
6 years? My, I bet she bust that monastery wide open.
6 years later.
Mr. DePina!
Yeah?
Mr. DePina, can you bring up the new skyrockets, please? I'd like to show Miss Sycamore.
Sure.
Look, Penny, check out these new firecrackers we just made. We can sell them 10 strings for $1. Listen. Nice, huh?
Yes. Paul, dear, have you ever been in a monastery?
No, I haven't. Wait till you see these new rockets. Gold stars, then blue stars, and then a bomb and a balloon. Mr. DePina thought of the balloon.
Sounds lovely. Did you do all that today?
Sure, we made up. Oh, here we are. Check out these new rockets, Penny. Cost us 18 cents to make, and we can sell them for 50. How many do you figure we can make before the 4th of July, Mr. DePina?
Well, we got 2 weeks yet. What time are you planning on taking the stuff up to Mount Vernon?
About a week. We're gonna need a larger booth this year. We got so much stuff made up. Well, come on, we're not through yet.
Mr. Sycamore, look, I'm afraid the powder chamber is a bit too close to the balloon.
But we've got the stars and bombs in between.
But that don't give a balloon enough time. A balloon needs plenty of time.
Well, come on, let's go down the cellar and try it.
Mr. DePina, if the woman you loved entered a monastery, what would you do?
I don't know, Mrs. Sycamore. It's been so long.
Is Miss Alice going to be home for dinner tonight, Mrs. Sycamore?
What? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I'll set a place for her. But she's only been home one night this week.
Yes, I know.
Ooh, Miss Essie's making some mighty good candy today. She's doing something new with coconuts.
Uh-huh. That's nice.
Now, wait. Let's see. 6 and Mr. DePina. And if Mr. Kolenkoff comes, that makes 8, don't it? Yeah, I better set for 8.
I think I'm going to put this play away for a while and go back to the war play.
Oh, I always liked that one, the war play. Kaboom! Kaboom!
They'll be better when they're harder, Mother, but try one. I want to know what you think.
Oh, they look lovely. What do you call them?
I think I'll call them Love Dreams.
Yes, that's nice. I'm going to go back to the war play, Essie. What do you think?
Oh, are you, Mother?
Yes, I've seemed to got myself stuck in a monastery and can't get out.
Oh, well, it will come to you, Mother. Remember when you got out of that brothel? The snakes look hungry. Did Reba feed them?
I don't know. Reba, did you feed the snakes yet?
No, Donald's coming, and he always brings flies with him.
Well, be sure to feed them before Grandpa gets home. You know how fussy he is about them.
Yes.
And here, take Rucho into the kitchen with you.
So,
I believe I'll have another love dream.
Mr. DePino was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder.
Want a love dream, Father? They're on the table.
No, thank you. I gotta wash.
I'm going back to the war play, Paul.
That's nice. This time we're gonna put red stars after the bomb and then the balloon. That ought to do it.
You know, Mr. Kolenkov says I'm his most promising pupil.
You'd think with 40 monks and one girl that something would happen.
Essie, hey Essie, listen to this.
I like that, Ed. Did you write it?
No, Beethoven.
Lovely. Got a lot of you in it. I made those new candies this afternoon, Ed.
Yeah?
You can take them around tonight.
All right, now here's the end. This one's me. How is that?
That's fine. Remember right when Kolenkov comes, will you?
Okay.
Ed, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was just thinking about that the other day.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we could have one if you wanted us to. How about it, Essie? Want to have a baby?
Oh. I don't care. I'm willing if Grandpa is.
Well, let's ask him.
Labor play, romance play, religion play. Oh, it has to be here someplace.
Whew. I was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder. Anything you want printed, Mr. Dapina? How about some more calling cards? Yeah, no thanks. I still have the first 1,000. Well, call on somebody, will you? Right. What's for dinner, Reba? I'm ready to print the menu.
Let's see. Cornflakes, watermelon, some of these candies Miss Essie made in some kind of meat. I forget.
I think I'll set it up in bold-faced Cheltenham tonight. You know, if I'm gonna take around those new candies after dinner, I'd better print up some more descriptive matter.
Do you think anybody reads those, Ed, that you put on the candy boxes? Oh, here's the war play. Poison gas. That must be Donald. Look at Reba smile.
The boyfriend, Reba.
They really are cute, Donald and Reba, aren't they?
Donald!
Hello, Reba. Evening, everybody.
Hi, Donald. How have you been?
I've been good, Mr. Ed. And how have you been, Miss Sycamore?
Fine. Donald,
Yes, ma'am?
have you ever been in a monastery?
No, I don't go no place much. I'm on relief.
Ah, yes, of course.
Here are the flies, Reba. Caught a big mess of them today.
Oh, you sure did.
I see you've been working, Miss Sycamore.
Oh, yes, indeed.
How's Grandpa?
He's fine. He's over at Columbia this afternoon. The commencement exercises.
My, the years certainly do roll around.
Say, what's he go there for all the time, Penny?
Oh, I don't know. It's so handy. Just around the corner.
Oh, Donald. Mr. Dapina and I are gonna take the fireworks up to Mount Vernon. Care if you lend us a hand?
Yes, sir. Only I can't take no money for this year, because if the government finds out I'm working, they'll get sore.
Oh. Ed, I got a wonderful idea from the bathroom just now. I was reading Trotsky. It's yours, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I left it there.
Who is it?
You know, Trotsky, the Russian Revolution.
Oh,
Anyhow, it struck me as a great fireworks idea. Do you remember the last days of Pompeii?
oh, yes. Palisades Park. That's where we first met.
Anyways, I'm gonna do the revolution. A full hour display.
Paul, that's wonderful.
The red fire, it's the flag, huh?
Sure, and the Tsar, and the Cossacks.
And the freeing of the slaves?
No, Donald, the Russian Revolution. Hi, Grandpa.
Well, sir, you should have been there. That's all I can say. You should have been there.
Was it a nice commencement, Grandpa?
Oh, wonderful. They get better every year. You don't know how lucky you are, your snakes.
Big class this year, Grandpa? How many were there?
Oh, must have been 2 acres. Everybody graduated. Yes, sir, and much funnier speeches than last year.
You want to listen to a good speech? You should go up and hear Father Divine.
Oh, I'll wait. They'll have him at Columbia.
Donald,
Yes, sir?
tell Reba that Grandpa's here and we won't be waiting for Miss Alice.
Okay. Reba! Grandpa's home! We can have dinner!
We made a new skyrocket today, Grandpa.
Evening, Grandpa.
Evening, Mr. DePina.
Didn't we make a fine skyrocket today, Mr. DePino?
We most certainly did.
I wonder why they don't have fireworks at the commencements.
Oh, they don't make enough noise. You take a good commencement order, and he'll drown out a whole carload of fireworks. And say just as much, too.
Don't the graduates ever say anything?
Oh, no. They just sit there in their cap and nightgown, get their diplomas, and along 40 years from now say, "Where am I?"
Hello, Grandpa. Have a nice day.
Hello, have a nice day. Not even a kiss?
Oh, excuse me.
I think I'll take a tomato, too. Could have used a couple of these this afternoon.
Father.
No, thank you.
Mother.
No thanks, dear.
That's right. Play something, Ed.
Okay.
There was a letter came for you, Grandpa. Did you get it?
A letter from me? I don't know anybody.
Was for you, though. Had your name on it.
Really? Where is it?
Well, I don't know. Where's Grandpa's letter, Mother?
What, dear?
Where's the letter that came for Grandpa last week?
I don't know. I think I saw the cat on it.
Well, did you notice who it was from?
Yes, it was on the outside.
Well, who was it?
The United States government.
Oh, I wonder what they wanted.
Oh, there was one before that, too. From the same people. There were a bunch of them.
Well, if any more come, I wish you'd give them to me.
Yes, Grandpa.
You know, I think I'll go out to Westchester tomorrow and do a little snake hunting.
God is the state is God.
What's that?
God is the state is God.
Who says that?
Trotsky.
Oh, that's okay. I thought you said it.
It's good for printing, you know. Nice and short. G-O-D space.
And
I-
so the beautiful princess came into the palace and kissed her mother and her father and her grandfather.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandpa. And what do you think they turned into? The Sycamore family. Surprised?
Alice! I like it.
Oh, do you?
It's new, isn't it?
Looks nice and summery.
Where'd you get it?
I just took a walk during lunch hour.
Oh, you've been taking a lot of walks lately. That's the second new dress this week.
I just like to brighten up the office every once in a while. I'm known as the K. Francis of Kirby and Company. Anyway, what's new around here in the way of plays? Snakes, ballet dancing, or fireworks? Dad, I bet you've been down in that cellar all day.
Huh?
I'm going back to the war play, Alice.
Really, Mother?
Ed, play Alice that new Beethoven thing you wrote.
Okay.
Say, you know you can mail a letter all the way from Nicaragua now for only 2 pesitos.
Really?
Kenneth, my honor is a priceless thing to me.
Listen, people, listen. Listen. I'm not home to dinner tonight. A young gentleman is calling for me.
Really? Who is it?
I've done everything I can to keep him from coming here, but he's calling for me.
Well, why don't you both stay for dinner?
Oh, no. I want him to take you in easy doses. Now, I've tried to prepare him a little, but don't make it any worse than you can help. Don't read him any plays, Mother, and don't let a snake bite him, Grandpa, because I like him. Oh, and I wouldn't dance for him, Essie, because we're going to the Monte Carlo Ballet tonight.
Ooh!
We can't do anything. Who is he? The President of the United States?
Vice President of Kirby and Company, Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.
The boss's son?
A boss's son, just like the movies.
Well, that explains the new dresses.
And not being home to dinner for 3 weeks.
Why, Sherlock Holmes?
Are you going to marry him?
Oh, yes, tonight. Meanwhile, I've got to go up and put on my wedding dress.
Is he good looking?
Yes, in a word. Oh, dear, what time is it?
I don't know. Does anybody know what time it is?
Mr. DePina might know.
Oh, it was about 5 o'clock a couple hours ago.
I know better than to ask you people. Will you let me know the minute he comes, please?
Of course, Alice.
Yes, but I mean the minute he comes.
Why, of course.
Be sure.
Well, what do you think of that?
She certainly seems happy about it, if you ask me.
I should say so. She's got it bad.
What if he were to marry her? We could have the wedding right in this room.
Now, Penny. It's the first time he's ever called for the girl.
You only called for me once.
Young people are different nowadays.
Oh, I don't know. Look at Ed and me. He came over for dinner once and just stayed.
Anyhow, I think it's wonderful, don't you, Grandpa?
Oh, she certainly seems to like him.
You must be crazy about her. Maybe he's the one who's been taking her out every night. That must be him. Don't worry, Reba, I'll get it. Now, remember what Alice said and be very nice to him.
All right, let's take a look at him.
Welcome to our little home. Now, come right on in. I'm Alice's mother. That's Alice's father, Alice's grandfather, Alice's sister Essie, and her husband, Ed Carmichael. Now, make yourself right at home.
I'm afraid you must be mistaken.
How's that?
My card.
Wilbur C. Henderson, Internal Revenue Department.
That's right.
What can we do for you?
Does a Mr. Martin Vanderhoff live here?
Yes, sir, that's me.
The government would like to talk to you about a little matter of income tax.
Income tax?
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, go right ahead.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby?
Oh, no, dear, it's some internal something or other. Oh, pardon me.
Mr. Sycamore!
What is it?
Mr. Sycamore, look.
No, not now, Mr. DePina. Grandpa's busy. Pardon me.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we have written you multiple letters about this, but have not received a reply.
Oh, that's what those letters were.
I told you they were from the government.
You see, Mr. Vanderhoff, it appears you have never paid an income tax.
That's right.
Why not?
I don't believe in it.
You own property, don't you?
Yes, sir,
And you receive a yearly income from it
I do.
of between $3,000 to $4,000.
About that.
You've been receiving this for years.
1901, if you want the exact date.
The government is only concerned from 1914 on. See, that's when the income tax started.
Well,
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, it appears you owe the government 24 years back income tax.
Wait a minute, you can't go back that far. That's outlawed.
What is your name?
Oh, what difference does that make?
Ever paid an income tax before?
No, sir.
What was your income last year?
It was about $27.52, wasn't it, Essie?
Yes, sir.
If you please. Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we have written you multiple letters about this.
well, let me ask you something, Mr. Henderson.
Well,
Suppose I pay you this money. Mind you, I don't say I will. But for the sake of argument, what does the government do with it?
how do you mean?
Well, suppose I walk into Macy's. I buy something, I see it, there it is. What does the government give me?
Well, the government gives you everything. It protects you.
What from?
Invasion. Foreigners might come and take everything you've got.
Oh, I don't think they're going to do that.
If you didn't pay an income tax, they would. How do you think the government keeps up the Army and Navy? All those battleships?
We haven't used battleships since the Spanish-American War. And what did we get from that? Cuba. And we gave that back. I wouldn't mind paying for it if it were something sensible.
Sensible. Well, what about the Supreme Court and the Congress and the President? We got to pay them, don't we?
Not with my money, no sir.
Now listen here, Mr. Vanderhoff. I did not come here to argue with you. All I know is that you have never paid an income tax, and you have got to pay it.
Well, they've got to show me.
They don't got to show you, I just told you. All those buildings down in Washington, and the Interstate of Commerce and the Constitution.
The Constitution was paid for a long time ago. And interstate of commerce... Say, what is interstate commerce?
There are 48 states. See? And without the Interstate of Commerce, nothing could get from one place to another.
Why not? They got fences?
No, they haven't got fences. They've got laws. My word, I have never seen anything like this before.
Well, I might pay about $75, but that's all it's worth.
You'll pay every cent of it just like everybody else.
Essie, listen to this a minute.
And you'll go to jail if you don't pay. You hear? That's the law. And if you think you're bigger than the law, you got another thing coming.
Woo!
You know better than anybody else. And the sooner you get that through your head, the better. You'll be here in the United States government. That's all I can say.
You watch out for those snakes.
How is that?
Bye, Ned.
How did that sound to you folks?
Oh, I like that one.
My, he was mad, wasn't he?
Oh, it's not his fault. The whole thing's just so silly.
He forgot his hat.
Say, what size is that hat?
7 1/8.
Oh, just right for me.
Who was that fellow anyways?
This must be Mr. Kirby.
Better make sure this time.
Yes, I will.
I hope he's good looking.
How do you do?
Good evening.
Are you Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.?
Yes.
Come right in, Mr. Kirby. We've been expecting you. Come right on in. This is really Mr. Kirby. Now, I'm Alice's mother. This is Alice's father, Alice's grandfather, Alice's sister Essie, and her husband, Ed Carmichael. Now that you know absolutely everyone, please give me your hand and make yourself right at home.
Thank you.
Is that Mr. Kirby, Mother?
Oh, yes, dear. He's lovely.
I'll be right down.
Please, have a seat.
Thank you. I hope not keeping you from dinner.
Oh, no. Want a tomato?
No, thank you.
How about a piece of candy?
No thanks.
Oh, I forgot to introduce Mr. DePina. Mr. DePina, this is Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
How do you do? Wasn't I reading about your father in the paper the other day? Didn't he get indicted or something?
No, hardly that. He just testified before the Securities Commission.
Why, yes, I'm sure there's nothing crooked about it, Mr. DePina. As a matter of fact, Alice has told us what a wonderful man your father is.
Well, I know Father couldn't get along without Alice. She knows more about the business than any of us.
You're awful young, aren't you, Mr. Kirby, to be vice president of a big place like that?
Well, you know what that means, Vice President? All you get is a desk with your name on it.
Is that all? No salary?
Well, a little. More than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Oh, now you're just being modest.
Seems kind of dull to me. Wall Street, do you like it?
Well, the hours are short, and I haven't been there very long.
Just out of college, huh?
Well, I knocked around for a while at first, just sort of had fun.
What'd you do? Travel?
For a while, then I went to Cambridge for a year.
England.
That's right.
Say, what's an English commencement like?
Oh, very impressive.
They are, huh?
Anyhow, now the fun's over and I'm facing the world.
Well, you've certainly got a good start. Vice president and a rich father.
Well, that's hardly my fault.
Now I suppose you're ready to settle down and get married?
Come now, Penny. I'm sure Mr. Kirby knows his own mind.
I was not making his mind up for him, was I, Mr. Kirby?
That's quite all right, Mrs. Sycamore.
You see,
You mustn't rush him, Mother.
all I'm saying is he's bound to get married, and suppose the wrong girl gets him.
Here I am, a vision in blue. I see you've all had a chance to get acquainted.
Oh, yes, we were just having a delightful talk about love and marriage.
Oh, dear. I'm so sorry I came down as fast as I could.
I didn't mind in the least.
Those flies in the kitchen. Oh, Miss Alice, you look beautiful. Where are you going?
I'm going out, Reba.
Stepping home. That must be Colin Cup.
I think
Grandpa.
we'd better go, Tony.
All right.
Grandpa, do you take cream or cornflakes? I forget.
Oh, half and half, Donald.
Ribista, Ribista!
Yes, sir, Mr. Colin Cup.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Colin Cuff.
Grandpa, what do you think? I got the letter from Russia. The second five-year plan is a failure.
I practiced today, Mr. Colin Cup.
My Pavlova.
Well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Kolenkoff.
Miss Alice, never have I seen you look so magnificent.
Thank you, Mr. Kolenkoff. Tony, this is Mr. Kolenkoff, Essie's dancing teacher, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Oh, well, if you'll excuse us, Mr. Kolenkoff, we're going to the Monte Carlo Ballet.
The Monte Carlo Ballet. It stinks.
Yes, well, goodbye, everybody, goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. I'm so glad to have met you all.
Goodbye, Tony.
Goodbye.
The Monte Carlo Ballet.
Isn't Mr. Kirby wonderful? Anyhow, come on, everybody, dinner's ready.
I thought he was a nice fellow, didn't you?
And so good looking.
And such nice manners. Did you notice, Paul? Did you notice his manners?
I most certainly did. You were getting pretty personal with him.
Oh, now, Paul. Anyhow, he's a very nice young man.
He kind of looks like a cousin of mine.
Past Dilev. Then you had the ballet.
We could have the altar right where the snakes are. You don't mind, do you, Grandpa?
Oh, not if the snakes don't.
Oh no, they'll want to get married in a church. His family and everything.
I like
Yes,
it.
of course.
He seems to be the new
Quiet, everybody quiet. Well, sir, here we are. We've been getting along pretty good for quite a while now, and we're certainly much obliged. Well, all that we ask of you is to keep our health, but as anything else is concerned, we leave it to you. Thank you.
So
So the second 5-year plan is a failure. Are you calling cough?
Oh, catastrophic. Wait until they try the third 5-year plan.
Of course his parents will want to come. Imagine Alice marrying a Kirby.
Think of that! Isn't it exciting?
Oh, I could play the wedding march on my xylophone.
Love to the wedding, you know. Love.
I could see them dance every night of the week. I think they're marvelous.
Just walking into a theater gives me a thrill.
Well, it's been so lovely, Tony. I hate to have it over.
Oh, is it over? Do I have to go right away?
Not if you don't want to.
I don't.
Would you like a cold drink?
Wonderful.
Oh, I'll see what's in the icebox. Want to come along?
I'd follow you to the ends of the earth.
Just the kitchen is enough.
Well, I like you. You've done it quite simply, haven't you?
Oh, yes. We didn't know whether to do it Empire or Neo-Grecian.
So you settled for Frigidaire?
Oh, yes. It's so easy to live with. Lucky you're not hungry, Mr. K. An icebox full of cornflakes that gives you a rough idea of the sycamores.
Of course. Why they make these bottle openers for sinker midgets? I never did. All over my coat.
I'll take mine in a glass if you don't mind.
There you are, a foaming beaker.
Anyhow, it's cold.
Now, if you please be seated, I'd like to offer a toast.
We're seated.
Miss Sycamore, to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. To you.
You know something?
What?
I wouldn't trade 1 minute of this evening for all the rice in China.
Really?
Cross my heart.
Is there much rice in China?
Terrific. Haven't you read The Good Earth? Anyway, I suppose I ought to go.
Is it very late?
Very. I don't want to go.
I don't want you to.
All right, then. I won't. When do you get your vacation?
The last 2 weeks in August.
I might take mine then, too.
Really?
What do you think you'd be doing?
I don't know. I hadn't thought much about it.
Going away, do you think?
I might not. I like the city in the summertime.
I do, too.
But you always go up to Maine, don't you?
That's right. Oh, but I'm sure I would like the city in the summertime if... Oh, you know what I mean, Alice? I'd love it if you were here.
Well, it'd be nice if you were here, Tony.
You know what you're saying, don't you?
What?
That you'd rather spend the summer with me than anyone else.
Was I?
Well, if that's true about the summer, how'd you feel about the winter?
Yes, I'd like that.
Then there's spring and autumn. If you could see way clear about those, Miss Sycamore.
I might.
Well, it's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
Well, then.
Is that you, Alice? Oh, dear, what time is it? Oh, Mr. Kirby, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
It's quite all right, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
I just came down for a manuscript and then you go right ahead. Ah, here it is. Love takes a holiday. Well, good night, Tony.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
Oh, I think you can call me Penny, don't you, Alice? At least, I hope so.
What's that?
It's all right, Tony. That's just Father.
Oh, this time of night?
Any time of night, any time of day.
You know, you're more beautiful, more lovely, more adorable than anyone else in the whole world.
Don't, Tony.
My dear, just because you're mother, all mothers are like that, and besides, Penny's a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
I don't mean that. Look, Tony, this is something I should have said a long time ago, but I didn't have the courage. I let myself be swept away because I loved you so.
Darling!
No, wait, I want to make it clear to you. You're of a different world, a whole different kind of people, and I don't mean money or socially, that's too silly, but your family and mine, it wouldn't work, Tony, it just wouldn't work.
You're away. She can't dance. That's why they pay all that money. Because she can't dance.
Well, I don't call it dancing, what she does. Oh, hello!
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How was the ballet?
Fine, Essie.
Wonderful.
Now look, what do you people think? Ed and I went and saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I always thought so.
What does she do anyhow? Now look, you're Fred Astaire, I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
I only want to borrow him for a minute. Now look, Mr. Kirby.
Essie, you are just as good as Ginger Rogers, we all agree.
You see it?
Yeah, come on, Essie. We're butting in here.
Oh, they've been together all evening. Good night, Mr. Kirby. Good night, Alice.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Good night. Hey, Essie, did you ever ask Grandpa about us having a baby?
Oh, yes. He said, go right ahead.
You see, Tony, that's what it'd be like.
Oh, I didn't mind that. Anyhow, we're not going to be living with your family. It's just you and I.
No, it isn't. It's never quite that. I love them, Tony. I love them deeply, and some people could break away, but I couldn't. I know they do rather strange things, but they're gay and they're fun, and I don't know. There's a kind of a nobility about them.
Alice, you talk as though only you could understand them. Why, that's not true. Every family's got its curious little traits. What of it? My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? My mother believes in spiritualism. That's just as bad as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because it's fashionable. Your father raises orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago a typewriter was delivered here by mistake.
Darling, what of it?
And look at Grandpa. 35 years ago, he just quit business one day. He started up to his office in the elevator and came right down again. He just stopped. Oh, he could have been a rich man, but he said it took too much time. So for 35 years, he's just...
Good evening, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Oh, hello there, children.
Hello, Grandpa.
How's the weather? Looks like a nice summer evening.
Yes, it's lovely, Grandpa.
Well, I'm off. I've got a date with the policeman at the corner.
Policeman?
Yes, we have a standing date, 12:30 every night. You know, I've known him since he was a boy. He's really a doctor, but after he graduated, he came to me and said, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I want to be a policeman. So I told him, you go ahead and be a policeman if that's what you want to be. And he did. How do you like my hat?
It's very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Yeah, I like it. The government gave it to me.
Tony, we can't...
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know you folks was in here.
It's all right, Donald.
Reba kind of fancied some candy and, here it is. Did you have a nice evening?
Yes, Donald.
Nice dinner?
Yes, Donald.
Was the ballet nice?
Yes, Donald.
That's nice.
Oh, could you explain Donald to your father? Could you explain Grandpa? Oh, you couldn't, Tony, you couldn't. I love you, Tony, but I love them too, and it's no use, Tony, it's just no use.
There's only one thing that you said that matters, that makes any sense at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
But darling, don't you think other people have the same problem? Everybody's got a family.
Oh, but not like mine.
Darling, would you trust me and love me, go on loving me and forget everything else?
Tony, how can I?
Because nothing can keep us apart. You know that. You must. They want you to be happy, don't they? They must.
Well, of course they do, but they can't change. I wouldn't want them to change.
They don't have to change. They're charming, lovable people, just as they are. Everything will work out. You're worrying about something that may never come up.
Oh, Tony, am I?
All that matters right now is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yes.
Well then. Now I'd like to see a little gaiety around here, young gentlemen calling, getting engaged and everything.
What do I say?
Well, first you thank the young gentleman for getting engaged to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
And then you tell him what it was about him that first took your girlish heart.
The back of your head.
Huh?
Uh-huh. It wasn't your charm, it wasn't your money, it was the back of your head. I just liked it.
Well, what happened when I turned around?
Oh, I got used to it after a while.
Well, think of it, Alice. We're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. Well, good night, darling. Until tomorrow.
Good night.
Isn't it wonderful we work in the same office? Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't it be funny in the office tomorrow, seeing each other and going on as though nothing had happened?
Thank goodness I'm vice president. I can dictate to you all day.
Oh.
Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Oh, darling, you're such a fool.
Won't you meet me in the drugstore in the morning before we go up to the office? And
All
then
right.
lunch. And dinner tomorrow night?
Oh, Tony, what will people say?
It's gotta come out sometime. In fact, if you know a good housetop, I like to be a little shouted.
Yes, sir, Mr. DePina. We did a good night's work.
That's what? 500 Black Panthers, 300 Willow Trees, and 8 dozen Junior Kitty Bombers?
Pretty good. Oh, why, hello, Alice. You just come in?
Oh, no, I've been home quite a while, Father.
Have a nice evening.
I had a beautiful evening, Father.
Say, I'd like you to take a look at this new red fire. Mr. DePino, can you turn out the lights, please? I want Alice to get the full effect.
What, Father?
Take a look at this new red fire. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, Father, everything's beautiful. That's the most beautiful red fire in the world.
All right, I says to him, you can take your job and shove it right up your...
I'm ready to read the play whenever you are, Miss Wellington.
Oh, just a minute, dearie, just a minute.
I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but you don't always drink while you're acting, do you?
I'm glad you asked. Once the play opens, I never touch a drop. Minute I enter the stage door, the bottle gets put away. Until intermission, of course.
Have you been on stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
All of my life, I have played everything. Have you ever seen, Peg of My Heart?
Yes.
I did too. It was a good show. Oh, my. It is hot in here.
You want me to open the window, Miss Wellington?
Nah, to hell with the weather. Say, he's pretty cute.
She's distracted, Reba. That's all. She don't mean anything.
Well, whenever you're ready, I think we'll read the play in the next room.
Ah, yes, of course. Minute I see snakes, it's time to lie down.
Oh, no, but those are real Miss Wellington. Those are grubs. I hope you... Oh, Miss Wellington!
Oh, she's out like a light.
Reba, Miss Wellington passed out.
Good! Do you think she'll be all right?
Oh, yes. But I wouldn't cast her in a religious play.
Then I suppose I'll have to wait.
Next time you meet an actress on top of a bus, Penny, I would send her the play, not bring her home to read it.
Ed! I wish you'd stop printing and take those love dreams around. You need to get back in time to play for me when colon cough comes.
Oh, colon cough coming tonight?
Yes, tomorrow night's his night, but I had to change it on account of Alice.
Oh, big doings around here, huh?
It's so exciting. You know, I'm so nervous you'd almost think it was me he was engaged to instead of Alice.
What do you think they'll be like, his father and mother?
Ed! What are you doing now?
Penny, did you see the new mask I made last night? Guess who it is?
Wait, don't tell me. Helen of Troy.
It's Miss Roosevelt.
You know the nice thing about these Meccano sets? You can make whatever you want with them. Last week, it was the Empire State Building.
What is it this week?
Queen Mary.
Oh, it hasn't got the right hat on it.
Look, Mr. DePina, would you go outside and see if there's a man watching the house?
Why? What for?
Well, for the past 2 days, when I've been out delivering candies, I think a man's been following me.
Ed!
You're crazy.
No, I'm not. He stands and he follows and he watches the house.
Really? Let me go and check.
I don't see what anyone would want to follow you for, Ed.
Oh, there's a lot of kidnappings going around, Grandpa.
Well, yes, but not of Ed.
Well,
There's no one up there.
you sure?
Yeah,
You see?
Oh, that could have been anyone, Ed, walking down the street. Now, will you hurry up and get back?
Oh, all right.
Mr. Sycamore, you want to go down to the basement and finish packing up the fireworks?
Yeah, we gotta take the stuff up to Mount Vernon.
Making out a list for Reba for tomorrow night.
Of course, dear.
Nice.
Why, what's happened to your actress friend? Is she giving a performance?
No, she's not acting, Alice. She's really drunk.
Oh, Essie, dear, you're going to give Reba the kitchen all day tomorrow, aren't you? Because she'll need it.
Of course, Alice. I'm starting some love dreams now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Mother, I'll be home by 3 tomorrow. You'll have everything down in the basement by that time, won't you? The snakes, the typewriter, the xylophone, the printing press,
And Miss Wellington.
and Miss Wellington. That should give me enough time to arrange the table and fix the flowers.
Oh, the Kirbys are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house, Alice.
You'll do that, won't you, Mother?
Of course, dear.
Thank you. And I wonder if we ought to have cocktails ready by 7:15 in case they come by a little early. And I wonder if I ought to let Reba cook the dinner. What do you think, Grandpa?
Well, now, Alice, what I've seen of the boy, the Kirbys seem like very nice people. Now, if everything isn't so elaborate tomorrow night, well, that's okay, too.
Oh, darling, I'm not trying to impress them or pretend we're anything we aren't. I just want everything to go off well.
No reason why it shouldn't, Alice.
We'll do everything we can to make sure it's a nice party.
Oh, my darlings, I love you. You're the most wonderful family in the world, and I'm the happiest girl in the world. I didn't know anybody could be this happy. This past week has been like floating. He's so wonderful, Grandpa. Just seeing him, you don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him, huh? Just seeing him at 4 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock the next morning. You see him at lunch, dinner. Go to the office, you see him again. Just seeing him, huh?
I don't care. I'm in love. Reba! Reba!
Nice, isn't it? Seeing her so happy.
Yes, I remember when I was engaged to Paul, how happy I was. And you know, I still feel that way.
I know. Nice the way Ed and Essie are, too, huh?
And Donald and Reba, though they aren't married yet. Do you suppose Mr. DePina will ever marry anyone?
You can shut it.
Well, there's Miss Wellington.
Oh, I do wish she'd wake up. If we're going to read the play tonight, we'll have to
Mrs.
start soon.
Sycamore, look at what I found.
Why, it's my painting of you as a discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Oh, yes, I remember it. Say, haven't you gotten a little gray, Mr. DePina?
Is it noticeable?
Well, it has been a long time since I stopped painting. That's 8 years.
It's too bad you never finished it.
I always meant to, but one day I started writing a play, and that was that. I never painted again.
Just as well, too. I was going to have to strip next.
My goodness. Thought when I came here 8 years ago to deliver ice, I was just going to stay.
Well, the milkman was here for 5, just before you.
Oh, yeah, why did he leave?
Oh, he didn't. He died.
Oh,
Such a wonderful man. Do you remember the funeral, Grandpa? We never knew his name, so it was hard to get a certificate.
Yes, what was the name we finally made up for him?
Martin Vanderhoff. We gave him your name.
Oh, yes, I remember.
It's a wonderful thought. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten so many flowers.
Well, it certainly didn't bother me any. Not any mail and not a telephone call from that day to this.
Yes, it really was a lovely idea.
I sure wish you'd finish this, Mrs. Sycamore. I'd kind of like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePina? I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Say, will ya?
I don't think she's gonna wake up anyway. Look, Mr. DePina, go down into the cellar and put on your costume. And bring up the easel. It's still down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, where did I put my palette and brushes?
Ribishka, my little Ribishka.
Yes, Mr. Golenka.
Hello, Mr. Kolnikov. Essie's in the kitchen.
Madam Sycamore, I greet you. Grandpa, what do you think? I got a letter from Russia. Sorry, that was yesterday. I lost the letter a long time ago. But what am I going to do about Rabishka? I don't know. I keep telling her she'd make a great toe dancer, but she laughs only.
No, sir, Mr. Golenkoff. I couldn't get up on my toes. I've got corns.
Rabishka, you could be wearing diamonds. Great girl, great girl. What is that?
That is a picture of Mr. DePina. Penny painted it.
It stinks.
I know. Say, what do you think of that?
What is that?
That is an actress, a friend of Penny's.
She is drunk, no?
Oh, she is drunk, yes. Say, how are you, Kolenkoff?
Outstanding. Life is chasing around inside of me like a squirrel.
Oh, it is, huh? How's Russia? Got any more letters from that friend in Moscow?
I have just heard from him. A safe for you stamp.
Thank you, Kolenkoff.
They have sent him to Siberia.
Yeah? How does he like that?
He has escaped. He has escaped and gone back to Moscow. He will get them if they do not get him. Oh, the Soviet government. I should take the whole Soviet government and... Gah! Gah!
I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Kolenkov. I'll put on my dancing clothes right away.
Tonight we will really work, Pavlova. Tonight we will take something new.
Essie making any progress, Kolenkoff?
Confidentially, she stinks.
Well, at least she's having fun, right?
You sure do tickle Reba, Mr. Kollenkoff. She was laughing her head out there.
She's a great woman. Donald, what do you think of the Soviet government?
The what, Mr. Kollenkoff?
I withdraw the question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, yes, I like it fine. I'm on relief.
And you like it, no?
Yes, only thing is you gotta go around that place every week to go get it. And sometimes you gotta stand in line pretty near half an hour. Government ought to run better than that, don't you think, Grandpa?
Oh, the government ought to stop sending me these letters. They want me to go to the United States Marshal Office Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock. Look at that.
Income tax. They have got you, Grandpa.
I'm supposed to give them a lot of money as to keep Donald on relief.
Are you saying you're gonna pay for it from now on?
No, Donald? Well, that's what they want.
So I could come right here instead of standing in that line?
No, Donald. I'm afraid you're going to have to waste a full half hour of your week.
Well, I don't like it. It breaks up my week.
He should have been in Russia when revolution came. Then he was stood in line. A bread line. Oh, Grandpa, what have they done to Russia? Think of it. The Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina, cousin of the Tsar of Russia. She's a waitress at Charles' restaurant in Times Square. I ordered baked beans from her only yesterday. Oh, it broke my heart. What a crazy world.
Oh, the world's not so crazy, Kolenkoff. It's the people in it. Life's kind of simple if you just relax.
How can you relax in times like these?
Well, if you would just relax, there wouldn't be times like this. That's just my point. Life is kind of beautiful if you just let it come to you. But you know, some people forget that. I know I did. I was right in the thick of it, fighting, scratching, clawing, a regular jungle. But one day it just struck me. I wasn't having any fun.
So you did what?
Well, I just relaxed. 35 years ago, that is, Kolonkov. And I have been a happy man ever since.
Good evening, Mr. Kolonkov.
Ah, Miss Alice, I have not seen you to present my congratulations.
Thank you.
May you be very happy and have many children. That is my prayer for you.
That's quite a thought.
Ah, love. Love is all that is left in the world, Grandpa.
Oh, yes, but there's plenty of that.
And soon, Stalin will take that away too. I tell you, Grandpa.
Seems so nice to get into my art things again. They still look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed, Penny.
You are a breath of Paris, Madam Sycamore.
Thank you, Mr. Kolonkov.
Oh, I didn't know you was working for the WPA.
Oh. No, Donald. You see, I used to paint long before I...
It happened again! There was a fellow following me every place I went.
Now, Ed, it's just your imagination.
No, it isn't. He follows me every time I sell candy.
Well, maybe he wants a piece of candy.
It's all right for you to laugh, Grandpa, but he keeps following me.
You do not know what following is. In Russia, everybody is followed.
Of
But
course.
I was followed right out of Russia. That's it. Right out of Russia.
Why, of course. You see, Ed, it's all in your imagination.
Well, maybe.
Where do you want this? Over here?
Over there, Mr. DePina.
Okay.
Ed, for tonight's lesson, we will take the first movements of the Shehzade.
Okay.
Has something happened to your figure over these past 8 years, Mr. DePina?
I don't think so.
Oh, yes, Miss Wellington? Yes? Oh, dear.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kolonkov. I couldn't find my slippers.
We have a hot night for it, my Pavlova. But art is only achieved through perspiration.
Why? Why, that's wonderful, Kolonkov. Did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved through perspiration.
Yes, but it helps if you have a little talent with it. I only made 2 bullseyes last night. I've got to do better than that.
We ready? We begin. Now, pirouette, pirouette. Oh, come. It's been 8 years now. You can do it. Ah, at last. No, Grandpa, you cannot relapse with Stalin in Russia. The Tsar relapsed, and what happened to him?
He was too late.
Mr. Kolonkov! Mr. Kolonkov!
If the Tsar had not relapsed, then the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina, would not be selling baked beans today.
Mr. Kolonkov!
Oh, I am sorry. We go back to the pirouette.
Could you pull in your stomach, Mr. DePina? Yes, that's right.
Freer is the hands. The whole body must work. Ed, help us with the music. The music must be free too.
Mrs. Sycamore! Mrs. Sycamore!
What, Reba?
Good evening.
How do you do?
How do you do? Are we too early?
No, come right in. We're glad to see you. We're glad to see you.
Oh, Essie.
Why, yes, only we thought you were coming tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow night?
What?
No, it's perfectly all right. Now make yourselves right at home. All right, now don't let it bother you at all. This is Alice's mother, Mrs. Sycamore.
How do you do?
Alice's sister, Mrs. Carmichael. Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Kolonkov. And Mr. DePina.
How do you do?
Don't mind my costume. I'll take it right off.
Mr. DePina, will you go down and tell Mr. Sycamore to come right up and tell him that the Kirbys are here?
And make sure he puts his pants on.
Okay. Pardon me.
I'll just tell Alice that you're Alice! Alice, dear!
What is it, Mother?
Alice, come down, dear. We have a surprise for you. Well,
Mrs. Kirby, may I take your wrap?
Well, thank you, if you're perfectly sure we're not.
Mrs. Kirby, don't be alarmed. They're harmless.
thank you.
Take them into the kitchen.
Of course, we're so used to them around the house.
I'm sorry to trouble you, but snakes happen to be.
Tony, I feel very uncomfortable about this. How could you have possibly done such a thing?
I'm sorry, Dad. I thought it was tonight.
This was very careless of you. Very.
Oh, now, Mr. Kirby, anybody can get mixed up.
Now, Penny, how about some dinner for the folks?
Oh,
They came
please don't
over for
bother.
dinner.
Oh, please don't bother. We're really not hungry at all.
Oh, but it's not a bit of bother. Ed, go down to the A&P and grab half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon. Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
Oh, please don't bother. I have a little indigestion anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, I'm very fond of it.
We can have frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
Make it frankfurters and some canned corn and Campbell soup. Got all that, Ed?
Okay.
And tell him to hurry.
Oh,
The A&P is just around the corner, and frankfurters don't take any time to boil.
Now, this is Alice's father, Mr. Sycamore.
How do you do?
I hope you'll forgive my appearance.
This is Mr. Sycamore's busiest time of year. Just before the 4th of July, he always... Oh.
Darling, I'm the most dull-witted person in the world. I thought it was tonight.
Oh, but Tony, I thought you... Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why I wasn't... Oh, have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice?
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Darling, you look lovely.
Of course she does. Don't let this bother you, my dear. We've all just met a night sooner.
Of
That's all.
course.
Oh, but I was planning such a nice party for tomorrow night.
Well, we'll come again tomorrow night.
There you are, Alice. Am I forgiven?
I guess so. It's just that we'd better see about getting you folks some dinner.
Oh, that's been all done, Alice. It's all been taken care of.
Oh, but Mother, what did you send out for? Mr. Kirby suffers from indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
I asked him what he wanted, Alice.
Well, yes, but...
Please don't bother, just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps it is not indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps you have stomach ulcers.
Oh, don't be absurd, Mr. Kolenkoff.
You mustn't mind Mr. Kolenkoff, Mr. Kirby. He is a Russian, and Russians are inclined to look on the dark side.
All right, I'm a Russian, but a friend of mine, a Russian, died from stomach ulcers.
Really, I never
Please,
thought that
Mr.
someone
Kolenkoff,
visited us.
Mr. Kirby has indigestion, that's all.
All right, let him bait.
Well,
Do sit down, Mr. Kirby. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Kirby, how do you find business conditions? Are we well out of our way of the Depression?
What? Well, I suppose so. Of course, that all depends.
Well,
Ta-da!
you figure that things are
Oh,
going
I
to keep
didn't
on
know we were
improving.
having a party.
Broadly
Let me
speaking,
take a
yes.
seat.
As a matter of fact, the industry is operating at 62% full capacity.
It moves.
Compared to 84% in 1925. Of course, in 1929, it was so much better because
I have a wonderful
more
idea.
people in the
Circles.
No, the other way.
This may all seem a little silly to you folks, but she can't be quite accountable for her condition. See, she's a friend of Penny's.
I think
She came over for dinner and got a little overwhelmed
Come
by
on,
the heat.
everybody! Yes, it's a party!
Some people feel it, more than others.
There we go!
I better make sure she's all right if you'll excuse me.
Oh, you're cute too. Oh. Well, goodbye, everybody. Mwah. Goodbye.
Yes, it is very hot, Mrs. Kirby. But you always escape this heat, don't you, up in Maine?
Yes, as a rule. However, I came down this week for the flower show.
Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. The blue ribbon is the high spot of her year.
I won a ribbon at a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice?
That was a garden show, Essie.
Oh, yes. She'll be all right now. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
Well, he'll be back any time, and then it won't take any time at all. Oh, I'm afraid you must be starved.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. Oh, hello. What's this? I didn't know there were children in the house.
Oh, no, this is mine.
Oh, well, I suppose every man has to have his hobbies. Or do you use it as a model of some kind?
No, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Dad, instead of raising orchids.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. You know some of them take 6 years before they bloom, don't they? Think of that.
Oh, some of them take longer than that. I have one coming along now I've waited 10 years for.
Believe it or not, I've been waiting for an orchid.
Yes. But during that time, they need quite scrumptious care. I remember a bulb I was very fond of.
Oh, Donald!
About this.
There you are. Did you get everything you needed?
Yes, only they didn't have any frankfurters. So I got pickled pig's feet.
Oh, never mind, Donald. Just bring everything into the kitchen. Do tell them about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. I know they'd love to hear it. And I'll be right back.
Kind of an expensive hobby, isn't it, Mr. Kirby? Raising orchids?
Yes, but I see that if a hobby gives one sufficient pleasure, it's never expensive.
Well, this is very true.
I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. After a week in Wall Street, I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. A lot of men I know have yachts, just for that reason.
Well, why don't they give up Wall Street?
How's that?
I was just joking.
I think it's necessary for everyone to have a hobby. Of course, mine's more than a hobby, but my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? Oh, but everybody knows that's fake.
To me, Miss Sycamore, spiritualism is, well, I'd rather not discuss it, Miss Sycamore.
Remember, Penny, you had one or two hobbies of your own.
Yes, but not silly ones.
Well, I don't think it matters what the hobby is as long as we all have one.
To be ideal, a hobby should improve the mind and the body. The Romans were great people. Why? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you have to think quick with the mind and act quick with the body.
Yes, but wrestling is not a very practical hobby for most of us. As you can see, I wouldn't make a very good showing of a wrestler. Look at this.
You should be a great wrestler. You are
look, I
built
got
for it.
scrawny
Look.
legs and everything. Wait!
Mr. Cohen!
Mr. Kirby, Mr.
Father, you all right?
I feel so bad. Oh, dear.
Where are my glasses?
Oh, here they are, Mr. Kirby. Oh, Mr. Kirby, they're broken.
I am sorry, but when you wrestle again, Mr. Kirby, you will, of course, not be wearing glasses.
I do not intend to wrestle again, Mr. Konkoff.
Better sit down, Father.
Mr. Kolgoff, how could you have done such a thing? Why didn't anybody stop him?
I think, if you don't mind, perhaps we'd better be going.
Mother.
No. Please don't go, Mrs. Kirby. Mr. Kirby, I've ordered some scrambled eggs and some plain salad. Oh, please don't go.
I am sorry if I did anything terrible, and I apologize.
I can't tell you how sorry I am, Mr. Kirby. If I'd been here,
It's quite all right. It's quite all right.
Of course it is. It's all right, Alice. We're not going.
Well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
You were talking about your orchids, Mr. Kirby.
Afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so terrible?
I threw him on the floor. Didn't kill him.
Please, Mr. Kolikoff.
I'm sure dinner won't take any time at all now.
Would you like some candy while you're waiting, Mr. Kirby? I've got some freshly made.
My doctor does not permit me to eat candy. Thank you.
But these are nothing, Mr. Kirby. Just coconuts and marshmallow and fudge.
Don't, Essie.
Well, Miss Alice.
Excuse me. What is it, Reba?
The eggs? They fell down the sink.
Oh, quick, make some more.
But I haven't got any.
I'll send Donald out for some.
All right.
Tell him to hurry. I'm sorry. There's been a slight delay, but everything will be ready in just a minute.
I sure have put you people through a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
Not at all, Tony.
Look, why don't we play a game while we're waiting?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Oh, Mother, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby don't want to play a game.
I have a great idea. I know a wonderful trick with glass of water.
Mr. Kolikoff.
I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Kirby will love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
Please, Mother.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sycamore, but I'm not very good at games.
Oh, any fool can play this game, Mr. Kirby. All you do is write your name down on a piece of paper.
Mother, Mr. Kirby doesn't want to.
Oh, I'm sure he'll love it.
Mother, what is this game?
I used to play it in school. It's called
Thank you.
Forget-Me-Not. Now, I'm going to call out 5 words, just anything at all, and you're going to write down the first thing that comes to your mind. For instance, if I were to say grass, you might put down green. Just anything at all. Or if I were to say chair, you might put down table. Just shows people's reactions to different things. See how simple it is, Mr. Kirby.
Come on, Father, be a sport.
Very well. I'll be happy to play it.
You see, he does want to play it.
Well,
All right, everybody ready?
Ready.
Now, you must play fair. Write down the first thing that comes to your mind.
I understand.
Everybody ready? The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. Everybody got that? The second word is bathroom.
Mother.
Bathroom. Got that?
Go ahead.
The third word is lust.
Mother, this is not exactly what you...
Nonsense, Alice. That is a perfectly all right word.
Mother, it is not all right.
Oh, it seems to me it's a perfectly fair word.
You see? Now you mustn't interrupt the game.
May I have that last word again, please, Mrs. Sycamore?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I got it!
Everybody ready?
This is quite a game, isn't it?
Shh. You mustn't interrupt. Everybody ready? Honeymoon.
Now, Essie. Essie. Essie.
All right. The last word is sex.
Mother.
Everybody got sex? All right. Now, give me all the papers back. Mr. Kirby, may I have your paper?
Oh, why, of course.
Well, what happens now, Penny?
Now is the best part. Now I read your reactions.
I see. This is really quite an interesting game.
I knew you'd like it. We'll read your paper first, Mr. Kirby. We're reading Mr. Kirby's paper first. Everybody listen, this is Mr. Kirby. Potatoes, steak. Oh, that's very good. See how they go together, steak and potatoes?
I just happened to think of it.
It's very good. Bathroom, toothpaste. Well, lust, unlawful. Well, isn't that nice? Honeymoon, trip. Well, yes. And sex, male. Why, yes, of course. You are. Really, this is a very good paper.
Thank you. You know, this is more than just a game. It's an experiment in psychology, isn't it?
Yes, it shows just how the mind works. And now, we'll see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Potatoes, starch. Oh, I know what you mean, Mrs. Kirby. Oh, bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
How's that?
Bathroom, Mr. Kirby.
What do you mean by that, Miriam?
Oh, I don't know what I meant. I just thought of you in connection with it. You do take a long time, Anthony. You bathing and shaving, you are in there a great deal.
Indeed. Hadn't realized I was being selfish in the matter.
I think this is a very silly game and we ought to stop.
Yes.
No! Please go on, Miss Sycamore.
Let's see. Lust, human.
Human. Really, Miriam?
What I meant, Anthony, is that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
I don't agree with you, Miriam. Lust is not a human emotion. It is depraved.
Very well. I'm wrong.
Really, this is the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions.
Yes!
No! Please go on, Miss Sycamore. What's the next word?
Honeymoon.
Yes. And what was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Honeymoon, dull.
Did you say dull?
What I meant, Anthony, is that Hot Springs was not very gay that season, with all the old people sitting on the porch all afternoon and nothing to do at night.
That was not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
Father, this is only a game.
A very illuminating game. Please go on, Miss Sycamore. What's the next word?
Oh, this one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex, Wall Street.
Wall Street? What do you mean by that one, Miriam?
Oh, I don't know what I meant, Anthony. It's nothing.
But you must have meant something, or you wouldn't have put it down on the paper.
It was just the first thing that came to my head, that's all.
But what does it mean? Sex. Wall Street.
Oh, I don't know what it means, Anthony. It's just you're always talking about Wall Street, even when... I don't know what I meant. Would you mind terribly, Alice, if we didn't stay for dinner? I'm afraid this game is giving me quite a headache.
I understand, Mrs. Kirby.
Yes, perhaps we better postpone this whole dinner a little while.
Oh, but you are coming tomorrow night, aren't you?
Oh, I'm afraid we have engagement tomorrow night.
Perhaps we better postpone this whole engagement
I think
a
we're
little
being
while.
very ungracious, Father. Of course we'll stay to dinner. Tonight.
I have a very bad headache, Tony.
Come, Tony. I'm sure they all understand.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony.
What?
We were fools to think this would ever work. It won't. I won't be coming into the office tomorrow, Mr. Kirby. I won't be coming in at all anymore.
Darling, what are you talking about?
I'm very sorry, my dear. Are you ready, Miriam?
Yes, Anthony.
Darling, you mustn't mind this.
You coming, Tony?
No, Father, I'm not.
I see. Your mother and I will be waiting at home for you. Good night.
Good night.
Stay right where you are.
What are you doing?
What is
it?
Good heavens!
What is this? I demand an explanation.
Keep your mouth shut, you. Which one is it?
This is him.
What are you doing?
What's going on? No, what's going on?
What's all about?
What's your name?
Edward Carmichael. I haven't done anything.
Now, this seems rather high-handed to me. What is all this?
Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness, Jane! What have you done? Oh my goodness,
I haven't done anything.
What has the boy done, officer?
What is it? What's it all about?
Please.
Does that door there lead to the cellar?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
I married
Matt.
you.
Jim. Yes, sir. Head into the kitchen and see what you can find.
I haven't done anything.
Come here, you. Ever seen these before?
They're my circulars.
You print this stuff, huh?
Yes, sir.
And you put them into little boxes of candy and deliver them to people's homes.
The love drinks.
Oh, but I didn't mean anything by those.
Oh, you didn't. Dynamite the White House.
What?
Dynamite the Supreme Court. Dynamite the President. God is the state. The state is God.
But I didn't mean that. I just like to print things. Don't I, Grandpa?
Now, officer, the government is in no danger of Ed. He just prints things. It's his hobby. He prints anything.
Does he?
I've never heard of such nonsense.
Why, I demand an explanation after all this. I'm not going to stand here and deal.
Hey, let me get my pipe, will you? I left it downstairs with the...
Shut up, you. We're right, Chief. They have enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city.
But we only use that.
Keep still. Everyone in this house is under arrest.
It seems to me, officer.
Shut up.
Well, hello there. Oh,
Keep still, you.
hello.
Who is that? Stop it.
That is my mother.
The fireworks! The fireworks!
All right, mother, there's no danger.
Do not funny! Before you even stand.
For appearing in the West Side Court this morning after spending the night in jail, the defendants, 13 in all, were brought before Judge Callahan and given suspended sentences for manufacturing fireworks without a permit.
Yeah, kept me in the same cell with a stripteaser from a burlesque show.
I was in the cell with Mr. Kirby. My, he was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and that stripteaser, they were fighting all night.
Oof. There's a whole lot about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company, 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended, declared he was in no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks, but refused to state why it was on the purpose of the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Racket Club, the Hardware Club, and the National Geographic Society. My, he's certainly a joiner.
All them rich men are elks or something.
I suppose after all this, Mr. Tony ain't even gonna marry Miss Alice, huh?
No, and it's too bad, too. You know, Miss Alice sure loves that boy. I don't know what I'm going to do with all that food out in the kitchen. There ain't going to be no party tonight.
Ain't we gonna eat it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it, but I don't think anybody's going to have an appetite.
I'm hungry.
Well, they ain't. They're all so broke about Miss Alice.
Well, where's she gonna go away for? Where's she going?
I don't know, mountain someplace. And she's going all right, no matter what they say. I know Miss Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
Too bad, ain't it?
It sure is. You know,
Not even a balloon left to look.
Oh. Well, how's your hand, Mr. DePina? Is it any better?
Yeah, it's better. Is there some more olive oil in there?
Yeah, it's in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
She's leaving. Nothing anybody could say would change her.
She isn't going to stay away long, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Reba. She wouldn't say.
My, it's going to be awfully lonesome around here without her.
How you feel, Miss Sycamore?
Oh, I'm all right, Donald. Just a bit upset. Perhaps if I do some work, maybe I'll feel better.
Well, I won't bother you then, Miss Sycamore.
She's going, Penny.
Yes.
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel like it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours. All these years I've been going along, enjoying myself, when really I should have been thinking of Alice.
Don't say that. You've been a wonderful father and husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone and been an architect, I don't know, something Alice could have been proud of. I felt that all last night with Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy, Paul.
I know, but it's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm kind of all mixed up now.
When is she leaving?
Pretty soon, the train leaves 7:30.
Oh, if only she'd see Tony. I'm sure he could persuade her.
He's been trying all day, Penny. She won't listen.
Where is he now?
I suppose walking around the block again.
Maybe he'll run into her as she's leaving.
It won't help, Penny.
No, I suppose not. I feel so bad for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, you let the girl alone.
But Grandpa,
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll be home. You can just take so much of the Adirondacks and you just come home.
oh, but it's all so terrible, Grandpa.
Yes, but it has its bright side too.
How do you mean?
Well, take Mr. Kirby, for example. The expression on his face when him and Donald had to take a bath together. I won't forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to if I have things like that going on.
Oh, but it was even worse with Mrs. Kirby. When the matron stripped her, there was a burlesque dancer who kept singing a strip song as she was undressing.
Bar Harbor's going to seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Do you need any help, Alice?
No, thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to press these.
Alice, dear.
Now, Penny.
I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you.
Want to take some candy along for the train, Alice?
No, thanks, Essie.
Really, Alice, you could be just as alone here as you could in the mountains. You could stay right up in your room all the time.
No, Mother, I want to be alone, away from everybody. I've just got to go away for a while. I'll be all right. Father, did you phone for that cab?
No, I didn't know you needed one.
Oh, I told Mr. DePina to tell you. Paul, didn't he tell you?
Oh, he told me. But I forgot.
I wish I didn't live in a family with people who forgot everything. Why can't we be like other people? I'm so sick of cornflakes and Donald and everything. Why can't we behave the way other people do with roast beef and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table and a place you could bring your friends to without...
I'll see if I can do anything. Alice! Alice! Alice, dear!
Talk to her, Tony. She's in the kitchen.
Thanks. Alice?
No, Tony!
Hey!
No!
Alice, won't you listen to me?
Tony,
Please.
it's no use!
You're not being fair. At least let me
No
talk
use.
to you.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked right out the minute he came in.
Knocked the olive oil right out of my hand. I'm gonna smell kind of fishy.
How are you feeling, Mr. DePina? Hand still hurting you?
And it's better.
Everything burned up, huh? Downstairs?
My Roman costume too.
See, Penny, I told you there's a bright side to everything. All except my 23 years back income tax. You know, I get another letter every day.
Say, what are you gonna do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I don't know, Mr. DePina.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Forgive me, the door was opened.
Come on in, Kolenkoff.
Thank you. You will forgive my coming today. I realize you're not upset.
That's all right, Kolenkoff.
I don't think I can take a lesson today, Mr. Kolenkoff. I don't feel up to it.
Well,
Oh, but do stay for dinner. We have all that food out there, and someone's got to eat it.
I will be happy to, Madam Sycamore.
Fine.
Thank you. Now, I wonder if I know you well enough to ask a great favor.
Why, yes. What is it?
You've heard me talk about my friend, the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina.
Yes.
She's a great woman, the Grand Duchess. Her cousin was the Tsar of Russia, and now she's a waitress at Charles' restaurant today.
Why, yes. There's absolutely anything we can do, Mr. Kolenkoff.
I'm so glad you asked. The Grand Duchess has not had good meal since before the revolution.
Oh, she must be hungry.
Yes, very. And today is not only her day off, Thursday, it is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, a remarkable man.
If you mean to say that you'd like the Grand Duchess to come to dinner, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes!
In the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
We are delighted to meet her. Where is she?
Oh, she's outside in the street waiting. I'll go bring her in.
Ed, straighten your tie. Essie, your dress. How do I look? All right?
Well, if things like this keep going on, I want to live to be 150.
The Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina. Your Highness, permit me to present to you Madam Sycamore, Madam Carmichael, Grandpa,
Madame,
Mr. Sycamore, Mr. Carmichael, and Mr. Tapina.
Now, Mr. DePino.
Please, have a seat, Your Highness.
Thank you. You are most kind.
We are honored to receive you, Your Highness.
I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, quite soon, Your Highness. Very soon.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I'm substituting for another waitress.
I will watch the time for you, Your Highness.
Thank you, Klunkhoff.
Grand Duchess, I think you waited on me in Child's once, the 72nd Street place?
No, that was my sister.
The Grand Duchess Natasha.
Oh.
I work in Times Square.
Say, a lot of your people down here now, aren't there?
Oh, yes, many. There is my uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei. He's an elevator man at Macy's. Then there is my cousin, Prince Alexis. He will not speak to the rest of us because he works at Hetty Carnegie. He is in ladies' underwear.
When he was selling hot dogs at Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you.
Oh, yes, Kolonkoff, our time is coming. My sister Natasha is studying to be a manicurist. Uncle Sergei, they have promised to make a floor walker. And next month, I get transferred to Fifth Avenue Childs. From there, it is only a step to Straff's. Then we will see what Prince Alexis says.
Well, I think you've got him.
You are telling me.
Did you know the Tsar, Your Highness? Personally, I mean.
Of course, he was my cousin. It was terrible what happened to him, but perhaps it was for the best. Where could he get a job now?
Pravda, that is true.
And poor relations are poor relations. It is the same in every family. My cousin, the King of Sweden, he was very nice to us for about 10 years. Every once in a while, he would send a money order. But then he said, I just cannot go on. I'm not doing so well myself. I do not blame him.
No, of course not. Will you excuse me?
Tell me, Grand Duchess, is it true what they say about Rasputin?
Everybody wants to know about Rasputin. My dear sir, it is true and how?
You don't say.
We have to watch the time, Your Highness.
Yes, my manager does not like me. He's a communist.
We'll be sure to hurry things up. Essie, go see if Ruben needs any help in the kitchen.
I will help too. I'm a very good cook.
Oh, but Your Highness, not on your day off.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
Right through here, but you're the guest of honor, Your Highness.
But I love to cook. Come, Kolonkoff, if they have got sour cream and pot cheese, I will make you some blintzes.
Ah, blintzes! Come, Pavlova, we'll show you something.
That is how you make a grand exit.
Your Highness, you okay? You shouldn't be falling like that.
Say, the Grand Duchess is pretty great, huh? Hey, Grand Duchess!
She's got a wonderful face for a mask, hasn't she?
Really, she's a wonderful woman, considering she is a Grand Duchess.
Wonderful what some people can go through, isn't it? And still keep kind of gay, too.
She almost made me forget about everything for a minute.
I suppose I better call that cab.
No, wait, Paul. Here they come. Maybe Tony has convinced her.
Ed, will you bring that big bag down now?
Don't you do it, Ed!
Ed, please.
All right, bring it down. You know, we've got the stubbornest daughter in all 48 states.
That must be the cab.
Well, if it is, it's certainly wonderful service.
Is Tony here, Alice?
Yes, he is. Come right in, Mr. Kirby.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How do you do?
Forgive my intruding. Tony, I want you to come home with me. Your mother, she's very upset.
Very well, Father.
Goodbye, Alice.
Bye, Tony.
I need hardly to say that this is as painful to Mrs. Kirby and myself as it is to you people, but I'm very sorry, and I hope you understand.
Well, yes. But in a way, no. Look, I'm not the kind of guy that tries to run other people's lives, Mr. Kirby. But the fact is, I don't think these two young people have as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, will you please not
Alice,
do this?
I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby. A cat can look up at the king, can he?
You want me to do that for you, Alice?
No, Mother.
Now, Alice, the train doesn't leave till 7:30.
Yes, will you send a cab to 761 Claremont Street right away, please? Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Father.
Are you ready, Tony?
Now, Mr. Kirby, I suppose after last night you think that this family is kind of crazy.
No, I wouldn't say that. Although I'm not accustomed to coming out for dinner and spending the night in jail.
Well, you've got to remember, Mr. Kirby, you came on the wrong night. Now, tonight, I bet you nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
Mr. Vanderhoff, it was not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and myself that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. Alice, for the last time, will you marry me?
No, Tony, I know exactly what your father means, and he's right.
No, he's not.
Alice, you're in love with this boy. And you're not marrying him because we're the kind of people we are.
Grandpa.
I know you don't think that these two families will get along. Well, maybe we won't. But who's to say that they're right and we're wrong?
I never said that, Grandpa. I only feel...
Well, I feel that Tony is too nice of a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Mixed up and unhappy, the way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff. I'm a very happy man.
Are you?
Most certainly I am.
I don't think so. Where do you think all your indigestion comes from? Happiness? No, sir. You get it because you do things you don't want to do.
I don't do anything that I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. You said it last night. At the end of the week in Wall Street, you go pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on?
Why do I keep on? Why, that's my business. A man can't give up his business.
Why not? You got all the money in the world. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Vanderhoff, but I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? The same kind of mail every morning, same kind of meetings, same kind of deals, same dinner at night, same indigestion. Where does the fun come in, Mr. Kirby? Don't you ought to think that there's something more? You ought to have wanted something more than you started out with. We haven't got much time. You know, any of us.
What do you expect me to do? Live the way you do? Do nothing?
Well, I have a lot of fun.
Oh, fun.
Time enough for everything. Read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, practice my darts, and I even notice when spring comes around. I don't see anybody I don't want to. I don't have 6 hours of things I have to do before I get 1 hour of things I like in. And you know what, Mr. Kirby? I haven't taken a bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. Now, what's the matter with that?
The matter with that? Suppose we all did it. What a wonderful world we'd have. Everybody going to zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
Well, there's always people like that to work. You can't stop them. Inventions, they fly across the ocean. And there's always people like that to go down to Wall Street too, because they like it. But what I've seen of you, Mr. Kirby, you are not one of those people. I think you're missing something.
I am not aware of missing anything.
I wasn't either, until I quit. I used to go down to that office, 9 o'clock sharp every morning, no matter how I felt. Used to lay awake at night, fear that I wouldn't get that contract. Used to get all worried about the world too. Get all worked up whether Cleveland or Blaine was going to get elected president. Seemed awful important at the time, but who cares now? What I'm trying to say, Mr. Kirby, is I've had 35 years that nobody can take away from me, no matter what they do to the world. You see?
Yes, I do see, Mr. Vanderhoff. And it's un-American. It's exactly why I'm opposed to this marriage. I don't want Tony to come under its influence.
Oh, what's the matter with it, Father?
Matter with it? Why, it's downright communism, that's what it is.
You didn't always think so.
Oh, most certainly I did.
Oh, no, you didn't, because there was once a time when you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Why, don't be an idiot, Tony.
Oh, yes, you did. I read those letters you wrote to Grandfather. Do you remember those?
No! How dare you read those letters? How dare you?
Why, that's wonderful. Did you wear tights, Mr. Kirby?
Most certainly not. The whole thing is absurd. I was 14 years old at the time.
Ah, yes, but at 18 you wanted to be a saxophone player, didn't you?
Tony.
And at 21 you ran away from home because grandfather was trying to push you into the business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well, well, well.
I may have had silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. I went into the business and I forgot all about them.
Not altogether. There's still a saxophone in the back of your closet.
There is?
We'll discuss this later.
No, I want to talk about this now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I'm never going back to that office. I've always hated it, and I'm not going on with it any longer. And I'll tell you something else. I knew it was the wrong night. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony! Oh, good heavens!
I wanted you to see a real family as they really were. A family that cared and understood each other. You don't understand me. You never had the time. Well, I'm not making your mistake. I'm clearing out.
Clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be pushing the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while I still have time.
But Tony, what are you going to do?
I don't know. I'll be a bricklayer. Something. But at least it'll be something that I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Well, tell him to wait a minute, Ed.
Grandpa,
Alice, do you mind? Now, Mr. Kirby, Tony's just going through what you and I did at his age. I think if you listen to him hard enough, you can see yourself saying the same thing to your father 25 years ago. We all did it. You know what? We were right. Who's willing to settle for, when they're young, for what we eventually get? All those plans we make, what happens to them? There's only a handful of lucky ones that can say they even came close. So before you clean out that closet, Mr. Kirby, I'd get a few hours of that saxophone in.
Before I make the blintzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Your Highness, may I present Mr. Anthony Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr.
How's that?
How do you do? Before I make the blintzes, how many will there be to dinner?
Oh, I don't know, Your Highness. I'd make a stack of them. You can never tell.
Good. The star always told me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blintzes.
Who did you say that was, Mr. Vanderhoff?
Oh, she's the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's making the dinner.
Oh!
And speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you and Tony both stay?
Oh, yes, please do. We have all that food we were going to have last night. I mean, tonight.
How about it? It looks like a nice meal, and it'll give us a little chance to get acquainted.
How about it, Father? We staying for dinner?
Well, if you'd like that, Tony, I'd like that very much.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, if you'll tell Alice to take away that cab.
How about it, Alice? Looks like a pretty nice family. Why not stay?
Come, Alice. Families ought to get to know each other, don't you think?
Mr. Kirby? Tony?
Darling!
Tony! Oh, Grandpa, you're wonderful.
Oh, I've been telling you that for years, darling.
Grandpa! Here's a letter for you. It was in the icebox.
Oh, the government again.
Now, Miss Sycamore, if you'll step into that office, I'd like to do a little dictating.
How do you do,
Oh, I better go
Mr.
tell that
Kirby?
cab.
How do you do?
Well, well, well.
What is it, Grandpa?
The government apologizes. I don't owe them a nickel. It seems I've died 8 years ago.
Why? What do they mean, Grandpa?
Well, do you remember Charlie the milkman buried under my name?
Yes.
Well, I told the government that they made a little mistake, and I'm Mr. Martin Vanderhoff Jr. They are very sorry, and I might even get a refund.
Grandpa, you're an old crook.
Sure.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff. How did you say you escaped that income
It was
tax?
simple. I just wrote
Tonight, my friends, you are going to eat.
Hello there.
How do you do?
Fine, fine. Very nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. What has happened?
He's relaxing.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Play something, Ed.
Mr. Kirby, come here. Come here, Mr. Kirby. I'll show you something. Okay,
okay.
Everything will be ready in a minute. You can sit down.
Come on, everybody. Dinner's ready. Come on, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, yes, I'm coming.
Essie, quit dancing and come to dinner.
Oh, you will like Russian food, Mr. Kirby. It's
Oh.
good for the heart.
Oh, but you must be careful of your indigestion.
Nonsense. I have any indigestion.
That wrong back, Miss Kirby.
Oh,
Quiet,
shut your face.
everybody, quiet. Quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. Things seem to be going pretty well, and Alice and Tony are going to get married, and they're going to be very happy together. Of course, the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePina's fault. Not yours. Well, all that we ask of you is to keep our health, and as anything else is concerned, we leave it to you. Thank you.
Mr. Kirby, I need you to
Grandpa, I got that letter from my friend in Siberia. He has escaped again.
You save a stamp for me.
Do you like roast goose, Mr. Kirby? We're having roast goose for dinner.
Why, that's my favorite dish.
Mr. Kirby, I'm going to dance for you later. I've got a new mazurka.
No, that's one. Music on my xylophone.
Oh, I want to learn how to play
Well,
that.
here goes the Adirondacks.
It's a very good thing, too.
Mike, play it. No, Mike, not on that horn, not on that horn.
Listen, Eddie, I lost my trombone and I've got to play it on this gadget.
Let's see how that gadget works.
I blow through here, music goes down and around, da da oh, 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 and comes up here. I push the first valve down, the music goes down and around, da da oh, 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 and it comes up here. Then I push the middle valve down, the music goes down around, below, below, below. Oh, listen to the jazz come out. I push the upper valve down, the music goes down and around, da da oh, oh, oh.
Sorry. Thank you. So as you know, this is our last night, and so we just wanted to say thank you to our advisors who helped us put this show together. So if we could have Miss Falk and Mr. Rogers come down to the stage, please. Ms. Falk is our director, and she does so much for our production. She helped make everything possible. So thank you so much, and here's a bouquet of flowers. And Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is our tech genius. He helped put everything backstage together. He helped organize the whole set, and the show wouldn't be possible without either one of these people. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your night.